Welcome back. Today's update is not built on hype, rumors, or recycled speculation. It's built on a shift in legal positioning, financial coordination, and structural reform that has been developing quietly behind the scenes. If you have been holding Iraqi dinar for years, watching every policy meeting and scanning every headline, then this moment deserves your full attention. Because what is happening now is not noise. It is movement. For a long time, the debate centered around whether Iraq would ever complete the foundational steps required for meaningful currency reform. Political instability, corruption crackdowns, oil dependency, and regional pressures all slowed progress. But while public attention focused on instability, institutional work continued. Over the past few years, the Central Bank of Iraq has steadily implemented compliance reforms, modernized electronic payment systems, strengthened anti-money laundering frameworks, and improved transparency in foreign reserves reporting. These are not cosmetic changes. These are the types of structural prerequisites required before any serious currency transition can occur. In Iraq, when financial regulations are published in the official state register, they move from discussion into enforceable law. That distinction matters. Ministerial interviews can shape sentiment, but legal publication creates obligation. Recent documented adjustments to Iraq's financial framework indicate that the legal architecture surrounding the dinar has entered a new phase. Analysts reviewing these publications suggest they align with long-discussed objectives of currency normalization and international reintegration. Now let's be very clear, normalization does not mean an overnight retail exchange event at every street bank. What it signals is that the legal groundwork for structured rate implementation and international settlement recognition has matured. In global finance, execution always follows structure, and structure follows law. Institutional chatter has increased noticeably. Financial desks in Dubai, London, and parts of Asia have reportedly seen renewed inquiry into dinar-related exposure strategies. This does not necessarily translate to public rate changes on open forex platforms, but it does indicate that back-end liquidity modeling and compliance channels are being stress-tested. Markets do not prepare infrastructure upgrades for internet rumors. They do so for legal and sovereign developments. One of the most misunderstood elements in this discussion is the concept of a contract rate versus a floating exchange rate. A floating rate fluctuates daily based on open market supply and demand. A contract rate, however, is predetermined under specific institutional agreements and applied under defined transactional conditions. It is structured, limited, and legally framed. In transitional monetary environments, contract mechanisms can provide stability while broader market integration unfolds gradually. For holders of dinar, this distinction is critical. It shifts the conversation away from emotional speculation and toward procedural readiness. If any form of structured conversion framework is activated, documentation will matter. Secure storage will matter. Proven ownership will matter. Organization becomes an advantage. Major financial institutions continuously upgrade internal systems to accommodate cross-border currency events. Global banks such as HSBC and Wells Fargo maintain private wealth divisions capable of handling high-value currency exchanges under strict compliance protocols. That does not imply public announcements are imminent, but it reflects the reality that global banking infrastructure is designed to adapt when sovereign monetary adjustments occur. Zooming out, Iraq's developments appear within a broader global pattern. Emerging economies are increasingly reassessing how their currencies are positioned relative to tangible assets and trade capacity. Vietnam continues to expand its manufacturing dominance and attract foreign direct investment, fueling ongoing speculation about long-term currency strength. Meanwhile, the Zimbabwe has experimented with gold-linked monetary instruments to stabilize confidence after years of fiat instability. These moves illustrate a wider reevaluation of traditional debt-centric currency systems. Globally, there is a gradual conversation unfolding about diversification away from purely fiat-driven frameworks toward systems that emphasize reserves, commodities, and measurable backing. Iraq, as one of the world's major oil producers, naturally sits within that discussion. Oil revenue, reserve management, and sovereign balance sheets play a central role in how currency strength is perceived internationally. However, responsible analysis requires discipline. Sudden wealth narratives are emotionally powerful but financially dangerous if not managed properly. Even in the most optimistic scenario, liquidity events require structured planning. Tax implications vary by jurisdiction. Estate protection strategies must be legally constructed. Privacy considerations should be evaluated before any public moves are made. This is why preparation should be strategic, not reactive. Licensed financial advisors, tax strategists, and estate planning attorneys exist for a reason. Tools such as trusts, holding companies, or family offices can help manage exposure and protect long-term stability. Wealth preservation is more complex than wealth acquisition. Another critical factor is interbank coordination. When sovereign currency frameworks evolve, central banks communicate. Settlement systems such as new IFT integrations, correspondent banking relationships, and reserve recognition protocols must align. Technical synchronization often happens quietly before public visibility appears. By the time retail audiences notice something, institutional frameworks have typically been aligned for months. Patience has been the defining trait of long-term dinar holders. But patience alone is not a strategy. Information discipline is. Monitoring official releases, tracking verified central bank statements, and avoiding unverified social media deadlines can protect both capital and credibility. It is also important to understand the difference between reintegration and revaluation. Reintegration refers to restoring full participation in global financial systems. Revaluation refers to adjusting the official exchange rate. One can occur without immediate visible retail impact. Often, reintegration must be stabilized before any broad public rate shift is sustainable. The tone of current developments suggests progression rather than speculation. Legal frameworks appear more complete. Banking compliance has matured. Reserve transparency has improved. Political volatility, while still present, is no longer paralyzing reform momentum in the way it once did. If a structured rate environment emerges, the individuals who benefit most will not necessarily be the loudest online. They will be the most organized. They will have documented serial numbers for physical notes. They will have secure storage confirmations. They will have consulted professionals. They will move deliberately, not emotionally. The broader takeaway is this: Iraq's financial architecture is stronger today than it was 5 or 10 years ago. That statement alone is significant. Whether the outcome unfolds gradually or accelerates under global economic pressure, the trajectory has shifted. The world economy itself is in transition. Debt burdens, inflation cycles, digital currency experimentation, and geopolitical realignment are reshaping monetary conversations everywhere. In that environment, commodity-anchored nations are reassessing their currency posture. Iraq's positioning must be understood within that context, not isolated from it. As developments continue, the question becomes less about if and more about how. How will implementation be staged? How will liquidity be managed? How will international recognition be phased in? Those are procedural questions, and procedural questions signal maturity. You are not just observing headlines. You are witnessing the evolution of a sovereign monetary system navigating reintegration into a complex global network. That process is technical, deliberate, and legally anchored. Stay professional. Stay grounded. Stay informed through verified channels. Preparation is not panic. It is prudence. If opportunity and readiness meet at the same moment, outcomes can be extraordinary. But readiness is built before the moment arrives. The financial landscape is shifting, not explosively, not theatrically, but structurally. And structural shifts are the ones that last.